Welcome to the course C# and .NET Programming. In this video, we are going to see the usage of static keyword in C#. The static keyword mainly indicate the members or declare the members that belongs to the type itself rather than specific to an object. So we know that in a class we have the instant members and static members. So the members can be a variable or a function. So instant members represent they are specific to the object. So when we create an instance variable, it has a own copy to the object. But whenever you create a static members, it is common to the class. It will be shared by all the objects belong to the particular class. In this video, we are going to see the demo to create methods, variables, constructors and class using static keyword. To start with, I am using the environment for the demo as the Visual Studio 2019. And to go with, first I am going to create a static method. So first I am going to create an instance method. So instance method I am going to create with void display. So I am going to tell console dot write line I am instance. And similarly I am going to create a static method. So to start with, you need to use the static keyword void greet. So this method will be specific to each and every object. Specific to each object. So this method will be common to all objects in the particular class. So I am going to write with console dot write line I am static. So now you want to invoke these methods. As you know already, to call the instance method, we need to create the object is equal to new program. And to call the method, we use dot operator p.display. So if you see that p.greet method is not available since it is a static method which is not specific to the object. So this static method will be accessed through the class name. So program dot greet. So when we run it, we will get the static method and also this instance method is displayed in the output screen. So now we are going to use the static keyword to create the variables. So to work with, I am going to create two variables. One variable with a normal instance variable and another variable is a static variable. So again, static variable will be shared to all the objects in the class. But instance variable will be having your own copy to the specific object. So now inside the display method, I am just trying to increase the C value and then I am trying to increase the count value. So I am going to create two different objects to access the instance variable and the static variable. So already I have one object. Now I am going to write with console dot write line. I am going to print the instance variable which is C. Then again static variable you cannot access through the object. It will be accessed through the class name. Now I am going to create a second object. I just copy, paste it, create the second object. And in the second object, I am trying to display the same variable C and the static variable count. So I have declared the variable is 5. When the display method is called, the variable 5 become 10. So this 10 will be having a own copy to each and every object. But the static variable count, which is acting as a global variable, or it is common to all the objects. So you will see what output we are getting. So just run the program. You see here, the static variable is initially 10. When the first object called the display method, it will invoke to 20. So it is stored in the common shared area. So when the second object created, and when it called the display method once again, the same count variable, previously it is 20, now it becomes 30. But in case of instant variable, the initial value is 5 and the display method is called, it is incremented only with 5 for each specific instance variable of the class. And now we are going to use with the static constructor. So to do that, I am going to create a class. Inside the class, I am going to create two different variables, that is length and the breadth. And then I am going to create two constructors. One is the instance constructor and another one is the static constructor. Rect int L1. So I am going to just print it console dot write line. I am instance constructor, and before that you need to make the constructor should be public. And then I am going to create a static constructor. I am going to use with public static rectangle, and this constructor I am going to tell I am a static constructor. So you can see here, static constructor, you need not to specify the access specifiers. So you just remove the public. So now the instant constructor is ready and the static constructor is ready. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to create an object for the rectangle class. Rectangle R1 is equal to new rectangle. We need to pass the length. So I am going to pass the length is 10. And then I am going to create the next rectangle. R2 is equal to new rect. This I am going to pass the value is 5. So whenever you create an object, the constructor get invoked. Since we have the one argument constructor, so when the object is created, the one argument constructor get created. So we'll see when this static constructor get invoked. So we just execute. You can see here, first time an object is created for the class, the static constructor of the class will be called only once when the first time the object is created for the particular class. But the instance constructor will be called whenever you create new object of the particular class, the instance constructor get invoked. And now I am going to create this variable as static variable. So static int b, and this variable I am going to make it as public. I try to make this also public. Okay, so within this constructor I am trying to change the value of L1 plus 5. And since again same thing, it is an instance variable which is specific to the object, and this is a global variable which will be common to all the object. So here I am trying to make b is equal to b plus 2. I am trying to initialize, this is b equal to 3. I can initialize the data members during the declaration of the variable itself. And now I will go to my main program. So first time it is passing the length is 10. That time your breadth is 3 plus 2. So defaultly it has become 5. And next time I am passing for the next object, it is 5. The length is 5. So the length is now changed to 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. But still your static constructor got initialized only once. So the breadth value is initialized to b equal to b plus 2. That is 3 plus 2. So both the object rectangle 1 and rectangle 2 having different length, but the breadth is same as 5. You will see it how it is executed. So we can see here console dot write line r1 dot length. Since it's an instance variable, it is invoked through the object, and breadth is the static variable, so it is accessed through the class name. So I can just put it. So I am going to use with the rectangle 2 object. So now we run it. First one, you see here 15, 5. Since the static constructor initialized only once, the breadth value got initialized only once for both the instance of the object. But the length will be specific to each and every object. So it is getting changing depends on the object constructor you call for it. And the last usage of the static keyword is the static class. So I will just hide this. We are going to use the static keyword to create a static class. So I am going to create static class shape. And within the static class, you are allowed to create static variables, static method, and static constructor. So all should be static. Okay. So I am going to create a static variable, static int I equal to 100. And then I am going to create a static function. So we'll just check it. Void display. Okay. And now it is showing you an error. Display cannot declare the instance method in the static. So static class should have all the data members, function members, constructor, all should be static. So I'm going to create a static. Similarly, I'm going to create a constructor. So that is also static. So everything I created with static. I just put some messages. Right line. Static method, and here console dot write line static constructor. Okay, so since you know whenever I have a static keyword, it will be accessed through the class name, so no need of objects to it. So I just go here and try to create shape s is equal to new shape. So it will throw me an error because you cannot create instance for the static class. So when your constructor get invoked, the first time you use the method or variable of your static class, that time your static constructor will be internally called automatically. So I just use with shape dot display. So I need to make it as public. So I try to make this public. Okay, so when the display method is invoked, first time you are invoking one of the method available inside your static class. So automatically your static constructor will be initialized first time. So you can just execute. I can have the static constructor will be internally or automatically called when the first time any of the members of the static class is invoked. And then your static method got invoked and you want to display the variable, then I can use with console dot write line shape dot the variable. The variable also I didn't declare as public. So if I am not declaring it public, defaultly it is a private. So you cannot access outside. So I am just making it to public. So I am using shape.i. So now you can get static constructor, static method and the static variable. I hope you are clear with the usage of static keyword in C#, how you can use the static keyword to declare a method, to declare a variable and to create a constructor with static keyword and also to create a static class. Please remember, when you use the static class, all its members should be static. The data, function and also the constructor. Thank you.